Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. This is Iggy, and I'd like to give a shout out to some of my new subscribers. I want to thank you for enlisting and welcome aboard. I hope to, in the future, bring you a lot of different toy soldiers. And, well, let's just jump into it. I found a box in storage on Thursday. That's this over here. And if it seems like a random and weird collection, I agree with you. I'm not quite sure why I threw all these things into one box, but let's get started. This one here is a G.I. Joe Marine that came with the heavy weapons set, a KB Toy exclusive. And it came with a metal helmet and a metal mortar with metal shells for the mortar. And I sold those things on eBay, and I kept the figure, which you see here. And that was the KB exclusive. The next up is the Soldiers of the World Australian Jungle Fighter. And this I got at Target right after Christmas. And I gotta say, Target probably dropped the ball on this one because they should have put it out before Christmas. Instead, I guess somebody forgot it was there in the stockroom, and it came out on the sales floor marked down for clearance. And they were selling it for like, I think I got mine for $4.98, something like that. Anyway, the reason why that's upsetting to me is because I thought perhaps Hasbro was testing the market for Soldiers of the World, because when they released them in '66, they weren't very popular. And if you look at the Sears catalog, in 1968, I think they were actually selling them for $2 each. The kids just weren't into it, or maybe it was their parents that weren't into it. That I couldn't tell you. I remember the kids across the street had all of them, and I would go over to their house and play with their Imperial Japanese, French Resistance, British Commando, Russian, German. Now, the European Joes had a different head sculpt than G.I. Joe. As you can see here, more of a snarly looking dude. Is that in focus, guys? Because I'm not wearing my reading glasses. Anyway, the Australian came with a machete, a trench knife, as you see there. I'd hate to bend over with that in my belt. That could cause problems. That's pretty cool. I bought 3 of these. The last one I bought was only $3.74. And they came out with a long-range patrol Jeep, and they also marked that down to $4 because somebody forgot that it was in the stockroom. So I picked up one of those. I should have gotten more, but, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Okay, so there's the Australian. He's pretty cool. And here's the gear he came with. There's his famous bush hat. I don't know if Australians used a lot of flamethrowers, but there you go. Sort of an interesting choice. And it came with the ubiquitous and universal pineapple hand grenade. Almost every G.I. Joe set came with those, except for the Soldiers of the World. They only a couple sets came with regular hand grenades. There's his E-tool, and there's their Medal for Valor. Each of the Soldiers of the World came with its country's Medal for Valor. All right, so there's the Australian. Next up is the Scramble Pilot. Now, you might think, well, is this a 40th anniversary? And the answer to that is no. They released this, I think, in 2000. And it came with a surprising amount of accessories, and I think they were testing the waters to see how the 40th anniversary kit would go over, because they also recently released that same year something called the Perilous Sea Adventure, which was a Navy frogman with a rescue ring and with a rope tied to it. And this particular set, you can differentiate between it and the 40th by the flight suit. It's the flight suit on this one is almost a khaki color, whereas in the 40th anniversary, this is a darker olive drab color. And also, not only was the flight suit that color, but the parachute was also that color, as you can see here. It's different from the OD green. And then it came with a handful of accessories, which, let me get my hand out of the way there. I'm lying down on my bed. This is a very professional operation, guys. Let's see. Came with a knife in the scabbard, a clipboard. Apparently no pencil on this one. A little tiny rope and anchor for your raft. Then it came with a flare gun and a flashlight, binoculars, a first aid kit, a map, and a fatigue cap. So it was a pretty complete set. And I think I bought a couple of these when they first came out. And I got one for Christmas that year. I think I got an African American, or some guys refer to them as Frojos. I don't know if that's nice or not. I'm going to have to ask someone. Okay, next up is a Dragon Models Limited sniper. His name is Ernst. I purchased 2 of these back in the day, and he comes equipped with the M41 Gewehr with the scope and a bayonet scabbard. Now this here, I think, is a case for the scope, but I'm not positive on it. I'm guessing. He doesn't come with a lot of equipment, as you can see. He doesn't have a bread bag or canteen or mess tin. He is wearing the Splinter camo smock and an M43 camo cap. He's got the boots and gaiters. And this figure was supposed to be representative of a sniper in the Ukraine in 1944. And you can see he's got that strange Westworld look about him that I mentioned in an earlier video. And he's got a really weird hair color. I want to show it to you. He's got this, it's white with like a tint, a very sort of vague tint of yellow to it. But there's Ernst. Then lastly, I found a baggie full of Ultimate Soldier uniform and equipment, and this is a bar gunner. I don't know what I did with the magazine. I didn't see it. Probably dropped it on the floor and vacuumed it some years ago. Anyway, this is the box that everything came in. And here we have Heavy Weapons Marine, Soldiers of the World Australian, Scramble Pilot, and accessories. Ernst, Ukraine Theater Sniper, and a bar gunner from Ultimate Soldier. And that's all I got for you. This might seem sort of random to you, and the reason for that is 15 years ago, I was asked to leave where I had been living for the last 21 years, and it shouldn't have been a surprise to me that I had to move. But, when you don't want to face something you don't want to deal with, well, at least I did. Anyway, let's not get into that, guys. I wasn't prepared, is what I'm trying to say. So I had to throw everything into boxes. And so I was scooping things off of shelves um, and putting it in boxes. A lot of boxes weren't even marked. This particular one is marked with the contents, but you can see it's very random. Oh, another thing was oh gosh, I almost forgot this. Whoa, almost forgot. Let's move this. There was a G.I. Joe in there. Now, I've showed you these guys many times, so I'm going to set this aside over here. But also, there was this. And this is kind of interesting. This here is an exclusive to the G.I. Joe Collectors Club. And it's called Men of Action G.I. Joe. It's got the Pussy UN helmet on the top there. I absolutely hate that, by the way, but never mind. Normandy Ranger. Now, I was at a G.I. Joe show, and they had some guy was selling Tom Hanks head sculpts. So I have bought 3 of these Normandy Rangers, and so I put the Tom Hanks sculpt on. This guy claimed that Hasbro couldn't get licensing for the Tom Hanks. And I'm like, well, then why did they go to all the money to create the head sculpt and have it cast, only to not be able to use it? So I wasn't sure about the legitimacy of his story. But anyway, let's take a look at the figure. Okay, here he is here. He's got the combat vest on. He's got gaiters. Oh, he's got a shovel on his foot. Here he is here. Now, there's something peculiar about the helmet when placed on these newer G.I. Joe head sculpts. And I'll show you what that is. Here's the newer G.I. Joe head sculpt. So if you notice, his head is a little bit narrower than a regular G.I. Joe. Let's see if we can compare the two here. You can see that G.I. Joe is a little bit bigger head than this guy. This guy's smaller. So what they did to keep the helmet from moving around was they put these foam pads in the helmet. Well, unfortunately, when you put the helmet on the guy, you can see the foam pads. You see that? It looks really bizarre, like he's wearing earmuffs. So that's kind of a problem. It was cool that it came with an E-tool with the World War II case there. It with a Browning automatic rifle. Show you that. A 45 holster. A Thompson machine gun. It was funny, but this is my second video because the first one I did, I dropped the phone so many times I had to start over. And here's a combat knife. Now, the artwork on this supposedly was done by the same artist who did original G.I. Joe boxes. Now, the only problem with this figure is you had to join the G.I. Joe Collectors Club. So I think it was $50 to join the club, or $40, and then it was another $40 to get the figure plus shipping. So you could end up spending $100 for one of these, which I did, because at the time I was so obsessed with getting everything G.I. Joe that I spent a wee bit too much money. Anyway, I was at a store called Tuesday Morning, and I walk in, and they had a whole stack of these, $10. $10 each. And I'm like, oh my God. So I picked up a couple more. One, I still have two of them, and one of them I think I sold on eBay. All right, guys, that's it for the weird selection of stuff. I'm not sure what I'll bring you next because what I did last Thursday. Let me stand up for a moment here. Last Thursday, I went to storage and I grabbed, some boxes here. It says Star Wars Imperials, so I'm kind of interested to open that up, and some things over here too. Well, that's all I got for you this time, guys. Thanks for getting Iggy with it, and hopefully the next video is a little better prepared so that I'm not dropping stuff and forgetting things. That's it for me, Iggy. Thanks for getting Iggy with it, and we'll see you next time. You take care of each other, okay? Bye now.